Hi and welcome to my channel. My name is Temi and today I'll be showing you how to draw these realistic foil balloons. I'll show you how to draw a base layer using markers, how to create shine, create depth using some unorthodox colours that you might not be used to, and how to achieve a nice finish on the drawing. I'll be using the Otter and Olive notebook today, and I'm using that because that's my present bullet journal notebook, and I'll also be using some markers and colouring pencils. All the materials I use will be in the description box as well as on the screen when I'm using them. So please like if you like the video and subscribe if you're new. I would love to see you join the family. So happy new year guys, we made it. It's 2020, it's a new decade, and so I thought I should do this 2020 foil balloon tutorial. My goal for 2020 is actually to do one video a week. At the moment, my plan is that after I do each of my plan with me videos for my bullet journal, then I would do a realistic tutorial accompanying it. So for example, my theme for this month of January was foil balloons. So I'm doing this tutorial on how to draw foil balloons on the side. If you haven't seen that plan with me video, I'll link it on the screen. I actually drew silver and baby pink foil balloons in that video. If you don't know what bullet journaling is and you're kind of listening to me like, what is this girl talking about? I'd like to say it's creative planning. It's just a way of staying organized, making sure I stay productive, but also drawing each of the spreads myself. If that little description of bullet journaling has sparked anything in you, I do have a playlist of my plan with me videos as well as my 2020 setup, which is linked on the screen. With this drawing, I started with the sketch, and I really made sure that I showed all the rubbing out and all the movement of things, because unlike digital art where you can just select your layer, select your element and move it, once this is on paper, that is it. I decided to show all the effort that it takes to get the sketch to where you want it to be, because sometimes the sketch can be the hardest part of a drawing. So make sure you take your time and you're going to have something that you will like. But before that, I found a high quality reference picture that I wanted to draw from. I think a lot of people are displeased with their drawings at the end, but they don't put enough thought and effort into the actual reference that they chose. So I looked on Google for ages for gold foil balloons that I liked the look of, and in the end I chose this one and I did this drawing. So after I'd finished doing the sketch of this drawing, I started adding my main colours using markers. I added the yellows that you see around the balloon, and then I added orange where you've got the initial shadows. So I've just added green, and this green might look a bit crazy to you. It might look like you're drawing gold, you need just yellows and maybe orange, maybe brown. But actually, I always say this with my realistic portrait drawings, you need to be able to add depth with different colours. With the reference I was looking at, it had a huge green shift. So this step is completely dependent on the actual reference you're using. So I thought the easiest way for me to get that main layer is to just go in with the green Crayola marker. After that, I started to shade different elements using colouring pencils, and I marked out some more orangey bits. With this kind of drawing, you just have to trust what you're doing is in relation to the reference. So try to look at the underlying colours, don't just look at it as a gold foil balloon. Try to look at the oranges and the greens to create depth yourself. And I layered the colours in the best way I knew how. I also used a white marker to mark some of the creases in the balloon. I tried to keep this tutorial mainly markers because I'm assuming that if you have a bullet journal, you probably use markers in there. I did have to use pencils as well. However, you should be able to create something a little bit more abstract with just markers. I added some browns to the green area just to give it a little bit more depth. This was the point where I didn't trust my drawing, I didn't trust what I could see. I'd been sat down for about an hour and a half trying to draw, and I just wasn't liking what I was seeing. So I went over it with white Uni Posca chalk pen, and this was the worst idea I ever did, and I'm going to tell you guys not to. So I'll show you how to do it properly on the remaining balloons. Because of this layer I put down where I thought it was looking too yellow or too orange, I couldn't then layer any yellow on top of it. It was kind of like a death sentence. I really wanted to show you guys how to do a different number as well, and I'm glad that the numbers repeat themselves, so it's just extra practice. With the 0, I did the exact same thing where I started with the yellow outline around the balloon and the orange on the inside. I then added some lines to show some of the creases and the main green that has all the shadows. I also tried to draw the orange in the middle and the remaining creases around and all of the depth. It's kind of hard to explain, but I hope you seeing me do it is enough of an explanation as well. With some layering and blending, then it's looking like this, and this is basically the stage where the 2 was at, where I then distrusted the process. So part of what I would say as well is step away from the drawing. I actually left that 2 overnight and I came back to it and I felt a lot better about the drawing. So step away from the drawing and don't make any rash decisions when you're tired or not really in the mood to do the piece anymore. Now I'll show you the remaining 2 letters fast forwarded before I come back to add the last details. You can probably see the progression with the piece that from the left it just doesn't look that great, but on the right I'm a lot more confident with my strokes, and this just goes to show that practice makes perfect. Technically I've drawn 4 gold foil pieces in this one piece, and just going from one to the last one just shows the more practice you do, the more colours you see that you didn't see before, and the better it will look in the end. I added details in the piece using the Staedtler fine liner pens, and they've got a very small nib which allowed me to go into each of the shapes and really add the depth and the detail. I want you to pay attention to the last 0 on the page because that's probably the one I'm most happy with. I then just used this time to go back and forth with each of them to make them as much of a cohesive piece as they could be. I added some white shine using the Uni Posca and blended it all out. So some tips for doing this realistic piece: spend time on your sketch, don't rush it, it's a very important element, it's a very important part. Trust what you can see in terms of the colours, and don't be afraid to use a colour that's a little bit unorthodox just to get the depth that you need. And finally, keep going. The perseverance you give into your art pieces is what dictates how good it looks. In all my speed drawing videos, I talk about how getting through the ugly stage is such a hard thing, but it's very essential. And that concludes this gold foil drawing tutorial. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like it if you like it, and subscribe if you want to see more videos by me. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I really hope the tips help you to become a better artist. I will see you on my next video. Goodbye.